Okay, I got a match against the Emperor's children. What, you said you were bashing your skull against them, yes?
Yeah, they seem to just scream and sprint in and seem to be able to snipe my captains out of dense crowd with melta guns. I just can't make sense of it.
Yeah, they're brought into the tabletop game as well, and they're kind of ridiculous right now. Hell, I just got a game with them, and they're the absolute brutal power behind the game right now. Weirdly enough, looking at the rules behind them, you can tell Games Workshop tried to reel them back, but failed horrendously.
David, have you seen Darren?
Yeah, he's with the Tech Marines in the Armory. I think he wanted to ask about how dreadnoughts work. Given you're okay on him, I think he's making some friends on your ship.
You know what? Good for him. I'm glad he's making some acquaintances.
Yeah, same. Good on him. He really does mean well, but this shouldn't be a video about him. Let's talk about the Emperor's children. So, the EC's got some history, a lot of history. They were the strongest traitor legion after the Horus Heresy in the Battle for Terra. There's legitimately so much lore about them, from Fulgrim owning his own planet he resets every time he gets bored, to him resurrecting his brother and killing him in different ways, to another captain of an EC warbrand owns a planet and he just chills out as ruler. The army rule is Thrill Seekers, which allows every Emperor's Children unit to advance, fall back, charge, and shoot. But there's some restrictions. You can't charge or shoot a unit you fell back from, and you can't charge or shoot a unit that was already shot at this phase. It's very restricted, which is an attempt to balance it, I can tell, but it really doesn't help that much. Of course, there's also how low in points this army is. When going against my friend, I had 4 Dreadnoughts, 2 Intercessors, a Death Watch veteran unit, an Infiltrator squad, Indomitor kill team with an Inquisitor Greyfax, a Tech Marine, Watchmaster, and an Apothecary Biologus. You know what my buddy brought? 2 Daemon Princes with wings, a Mauler Fiend, a Land Raider, a Rhino, and a ton of dudes, some with precision melta guns, and other crazy ass shit. Of course, you probably see that there's another army rule, right? I'm not exactly sure what this Pact of Excess actually does. From what it reads, it looks like you can't bring daemons that aren't a part of the Emperor's Children lists, but this also says you can't choose daemons as your faction, which is obvious, so this is just confusing. Honestly, I think this means that daemons will get their own codex, but the Chaos Legions will get their own versions of each daemon, which makes buying the daemon's codex unnecessary, and I actually like that. But why did they make the Imperial Agents a required purchase for Imperial players? So how do we go for the detachments? My friend used this detachment, Coterie of the Conceited, which you see here. This detachment requires your warlord to live, and it lets you place bets on the game at the beginning of each battle round, before the command phase. You bet on how many units you will kill, and if you can make it, you get that number of pact points. If you get further, you can use a stratagem to increase the number in the bet, getting you more pact points. But what happens if you don't kill that many? Your warlord gets a D3 mortal wounds, and you have to have a warlord alive in order to use this detachment rule. Depending on the number of points you gain, which sit around for the entire battle, you gain different benefits. 1 or more units gain a reroll to hits rolls of 1. 3 or more, wound rolls of 1. 5+, melee weapons gain lethal hits and sustained hits. 7 or more, critical hits are scored on an unmodified 5 up, like Canis Rex. All of these apply to all Emperor's Children units. And you can make a Daemon Prince both with and without Wings Your Warlord. So this is absolutely busted for this detachment. 5 more to go though. Carnival of Excess. This one lets you take more daemons from the daemons list into your EC list, but they can't be warlords. While Legions of Excess and Emperor's Children units are within 6 inches of each other, they become empowered, which gives them sustained hits 1. But if the weapon already has sustained hits, it's a crit hit on 5+. And there's a lot of sustained hits in the Emperor's Children. Normally, sustained hits stack, so instead of an SH1, it would become an SH2. This time it just said screw not getting perfect, and leads to more wound dice being rolled through lower effort. Okay, what about Mercurial Host? This one's detachment ability is Quicksilver Grace, which just allows you to reroll advance rolls for Emperor's Children units. I don't know how well this is. I need to check Wahapedia for enhancements and stratagems to understand if there's more behind these guys than just going fast. But add the army rule, this would lead to turn 1 fights, which the army is already very good at getting at. Peerless Bladesman is about melee in the army, which is already a huge focus for it. Exquisite Swordsmanship gives Emperor's Children units that have been selected to fight, if they charge this round, a choice between 2 abilities for their melee, lethal hits and sustained hits. Most units already get one or the other, so putting the other on it could be brutal. This is definitely in the assumption of having as many flawless blades and such as possible. Infractors can also join in. This whole detachment is close ranged and Whirl of Blades focus. 2 to go, Rapid Evisceration. This is a transport focused detachment. In the Emperor's Children, you've got Chaos Land Raiders and Chaos Rhinos, each with some wild ass get out and charge bullshit. If a unit leaves the transport this turn and makes an attack, they can reroll hit and wound rolls of 1. This seems very simple and minimal, but remember that rhinos are dedicated transports, and you could take 6 of them, so long as they start with something in them. This doesn't seem like much, but given how cars can be in 40k, I can see this being absolutely broken. Last detachment is Slaanesh Chosen. The detachment rule is Infernal Rivalries. What does this do now? Characters can ignore all modifiers to their move, advance, and charge rolls, leading to the Basilisk from the Imperial Guard being useless against them pretty much. The Warlord unit starts the battle as the favored champion, and each time a character destroys an enemy unit, that unit becomes the new favored champion, allowing them to reroll wound rolls. Now, this wording implies that the character needs to destroy the unit, not the character's unit. So this one can be a bit difficult to pull off, but can make things very worth it with that wound reroll thing, especially when facing off against knights. Games Workshop definitely tried to balance these, but it makes me wonder what exactly they do to test these things. It feels like there's absolutely no balance to this, as the army rule alone has a lot of hold up, and add to it the detachment rules, it gets ridiculous. ECs can get into fights in the very first turn of combat, and that leads to a round 1 disadvantage. It's just not that much fun to go against. Games Workshop needs to actually play games to test these out. I'm making a war game myself, and to figure out balance, I run games with each unit and each change so that I can test every game. Usually I play against myself, since my luck is shit. It usually ends up with a balanced, way too long game. Still, I like that the last of the specific legions are out. Now I want to know if they'll actually release, say, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, Alpha Legion, or the Sons of Malice. Or will they just remain as part of the general Chaos Space Marines? Who knows? We'll see. Shove off.